Good evening. Matinee from എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. So today we are taking the session Positive Mental Health by Matt Peston and Ray Matthias. They are working for Eq4Peace for the last 30 years. They are ambassadors of emotional management. And let me welcome Mr. Matt for the presentation. So Matt, you are welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me again, and always have a good group here. And so I'm kind of developing some of these processes and concepts, and so I appreciate the feedback and being able to speak to educated folks like yourselves, so I can get some good information back. So let me know how we're doing. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. And I have too many slides again, but I'm going to speak slowly. The most feedback I get lately is you're talking too fast, so slow down. So I'm going to slow. Is this better? Is this better like this? Yeah. Yay. I'll try to stay calm. I get excited. I love this subject, so I get excited and I go fast. Plus, there's so much to it. There's so much to it that there's no way I can get it all out to what I want to say. So, but we'll keep trying. Here we go. So this is about the basics of positive mental health. And this is kind of a new idea, a new concept. We're saying that mental health is not just a negative thing, like it has been issues and problems and pain and all that. It is all that. That is part of our mental health. But if we can deal with that, if we can learn how to deal with our pain, with the negatives, then we can actually create more positives. And that's why we call it positive mental health. We're spinning it. We're changing it. So the more we learn about ourselves, the more we can manage ourselves. Brilliant, right? So this is all starting with emotional intelligence. And there's a lot of people know about emotional intelligence now, and that's a wonderful thing. But emotional intelligence is an intelligence. It's the ideas and the concepts and the language and the facts and the science behind it. So it's an understanding, right? But that doesn't necessarily help you learn how to use it, how to put it to use in your life. And so I'm trying to find the difference between emotional intelligence, where we know stuff, and positive mental health, where we can do stuff better, manage our emotions in real life, day-to-day real relationships, our communications with ourselves, the way we manage ourselves, etc. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So I'm hoping to learn to trust yourself. This is from a different course. Sorry, I forgot. This is from the course I'm doing with the students. So that's one of the first ones. You probably are fairly good at that, I hope. Oh, I got a message that can't hear me. Can you, Dr. S, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, so we're going to talk some about emotional intelligence, how emotions work and how important they are. I'm just going to go briefly into that because a lot of you already know some about that, and then go into positive mental health, and that is how to put the emotions to work in your life to create joy and peace and love and success in your life. That's different than just knowing how they work, right? You probably know people, I know people that are really smart, but doesn't mean they know how to do stuff. They just know how it works, maybe. So anyway, inspire you to continue your growth, learn how to reach out and help others. And our big goal of our nonprofit Eq4Peace is to bring peace to ourselves and to the world. We're saying that most people don't know how to create peace inside or around them. So how are we supposed to create peace in the world? So we can teach that. These are teachable skills, but they start with emotional intelligence. It all starts with emotional intelligence. So let's talk about some of the difference between EQ and PMH. Okay. This is good news. We can learn to be more joyful. We can learn to be more peaceful and loving no matter what happens outside of us. All right. So let's talk about EQ for a minute. This is an intelligence. This is a new concept that we've come up with that is called emotionology. I kind of think that's fun. We're doing a blog postings on emotionology, which is ology is the study of, so the study of emotions, right? Knowing the concepts, the language, there's a whole different language to it. There's lots and lots and lots of research going on now. And one of the most popular subjects in the world is for people to write their papers, writing master's and PhD thesis on emotional intelligence, one of the most popular subjects in the world, which is wild. There's a science to it, and how our brain works, how our synapses work, how our amygdala works, how our prefrontal cortex works, all that good stuff. That's all emotional intelligence, understanding how things go on inside of us, how they work inside of you and me and we. Okay. There's one of the became popular by Daniel Goleman in this book back in 1995 called Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. I'm saying it doesn't matter more than IQ. It can, but it is balance thing. And that's a positive mental health issue, or learning, is that it's a balance. It's not more important. We need our IQ, we need our EQ, we need them both, the balance. So in my opinion, that's hard to prove, but it's in my opinion, that's the way to go. So EQ is what it is. PMH is how to use it. EQ is the concepts and skills and language. It never stops, never ends. It's not for everyone. This is tough stuff. Sometimes it can be painful. Emotional intelligence, you're going to learn about your negative emotions, and it's going to be painful. And in fact, it can be some of the toughest stuff you ever do. It's simple, but it ain't easy sometimes. So that's important that you come into it knowing that. And if you can be comfortable being uncomfortable, then you can do all kinds of things with your emotions, because they're uncomfortable sometimes. If you have to stay in your comfort zone, that makes it tough for you. It limits you. If you can be uncomfortable, allow yourself to be uncomfortable a little bit and stretch your emotions and get out of your little comfortable shell, then you can do all kinds of things. So it's about courage too. It's about bravery and being able to face ourselves. Some of the scariest things that we ever face is inside of us. It affects every area of our life, our home, school, and work, all day, every day. It's not taught in most schools, which is really a shame. But we're trying to change that. That's one of the main points of our nonprofit, is to get emotional education into schools everywhere. It can be really uncomfortable to talk about. So if you can, and we don't usually talk about it. We don't usually think about it much. We don't feel about it, not on purpose. And so it's new and it's different. And because of that, it's by definition, it's uncomfortable, because we don't go there very often. The more you do, the more comfortable you'll be with it. It gives you the power to control your own life, emotionally and in other ways. It's pretty cool. And it gives us choices, which is a wonderful thing. So there's two parts of our brain. This is a fact, as far as I know. Last time we cut some brains open, there are two parts of it, right? But what we found is that one part, our left brain, is the analytical side, right? Our logical knowledge side. That's where IQ is. Our EQ, on the other hand, we don't deal with much, is our right brain, and that is our passion, our creativity, our feelings, our touch, our smell, our taste are all on the right side of our brain, and we don't go there very often. And what I'm saying is the key is to balance the two, All right. EQ is about knowing yourself, knowing how to manage yourself, knowing others, and knowing how to manage others. So that's kind of the again, Daniel Goleman's 4 domains of emotional intelligence. I'm just doing a quick review here. One of the basics of it is this should probably be in the PMH side, but we cannot always control what goes on outside of us, but we can control what goes on inside. Actually, I'm not sure control is a good word here, because sometimes things happen inside of us that we don't have much control over. There, just we have thoughts. We don't control some of our thoughts. They just come, right? So maybe manage is a better word. We can manage our own lives, and we don't necessarily control every single thought or every single feeling. What we can do, however, is adjust them. If we have a thought that we don't like, we can have a new thought that we do like on purpose. We can consciously create new thoughts and new feelings inside of us. And most people don't know that they can do that, but we can, and we do it all the time. We're just not very aware of it. So that's a wonderful thing. This is actually a PMH thing. So I'm not going to go through this quiz right here, but there's 7 steps to handling your feelings and emotions. They are awareness first, acceptance, identification, right? You got to be aware first. We've got to be able to accept. We don't got to. First is awareness, that's for sure, because you can't do anything until you're aware. We then accept or not. This is one of the keys to the whole thing, is to accept or not our feelings and our thoughts, right? We can fight them, we can lie about them, we can deny them, we can hide from them, we can avoid them, we can do that, or we can go, oh, I'm having a feeling, oh, I'm having this thought, and just accept that it's happening, and then we can do something with it. If we fight it and deny it and all, we can't do anything with it. So if we accept it, we can. And acceptance is a very large part of all of this. Next is identification. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Identification, just I call it name it to tame it, which means that once you can identify what's going on for you, a lot of times you feel much better just from that, just being able to understand yourself and be able to identify what's going on inside of you. It feels much better than going, I don't know, I'm all stressed, all these things are happening and I don't know what they are. And, so if we can at least identify them, that helps. What I also think is that it's helpful sometimes to not identify them, meaning if you get stuck there and you don't get stuck going, what? I wonder what is that? What does that? I know people that just go on and on and on about what is it? What do we call it? It doesn't matter. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you call it. It more matters what do you do with it, right? So don't get stuck in the identification phase. Next is expression, and that's about releasing or about expressing yourself. How do you come across? How do you show up as who you are? Do you hide expression? Do you express yourself so people know who you are and what you're about, or do you hide that and keep it to yourself? I'm not saying one's better than the other. I can tell you that for me, I was very, very adverse to expressing myself. I used to be very quiet and kind of shut down, and I would look down a lot. I didn't make much eye contact, and I didn't express. I was hiding. And now that I can deal with my negative emotions, I can express myself more. I can make a fool of myself in front of a bunch of brilliant people. And because if it doesn't go well, I can manage it. I'll handle it if it doesn't go well. I didn't used to be able to handle my negative emotions, so I kept myself closed down so I didn't get hurt, because I don't know what I'm going to do if I get hurt, right? Now I do know what I'm going to do if I get hurt. I'm going to deal with it and I'll be okay. And then I can take what I learned from that situation in cognitively and emotionally and use that to better myself in the future. Very important. So expression is something you'll deal with the whole rest of your life. We then release. When you've got a negative emotion, you don't have to carry it around with your body will appreciate it if you would let go of things quickly and completely. And you can do that. Or you can hang on to it. You can carry it around with you the rest of your life. I know a lot of people who've been angry or hurt or something that happened in their childhood, and they're still angry and they're still hurt about it because they never dealt with it, because they never actually dealt with it or examined it or changed it or modified it or identified it or any of that stuff. We just try to pretend it didn't happen, and that doesn't work a lot of times. It gets stuck in our heart. And we can actively release our negative emotions and let them go, not on anybody else, but just out of you into the universe, into the air. And then your body is like, thank you. I don't want to carry this junk around inside of me anymore. The reason our body carries stuff inside of us is because of us, because we don't let it release. We keep it for various reasons, and it's not very useful, and can be very painful, and it can be actually very destructive. They've now done many research, scientific studies to show the effect of our emotions on us physically, right? They're making the connection between our emotions and our physical, the rest of our body, and showing that there's a very definite connection there. And if you hold in your emotions and you don't deal with them, your body is not going to like that, and eventually will cause some pretty severe diseases, because dis-ease, right? That's dis-ease in the body, and it doesn't go well. It doesn't go well. Actually shorten your life. So I'd highly recommend that you deal with your emotions, deal with your thoughts, deal with your emotions, deal with your feelings, deal with stuff that's going on inside for your benefit and others around you. You can let go of things, get good at letting go of things. And then once we let go of them, we can replace them. With different things. We can replace this big blob that was in my neck, or the pain that was in my heart, or the anger that's in my belly. I can let go of that, and then there's a space there, and then we can fill back up with some positives, what's nice, like a nice color or nice sound or a smell or whatever. You can replace it. It sounds bizarre, and if you're a science guy, you're probably going, what are you talking about? But try it. Try it. Next time you're upset about something, find it in your body, express it, or let it go some way. You can imagine it floating out. You can drop it down with gravity. You can do whatever you want to do with it. You can grab a hold of it and yank it out of you, whatever. It's pretty wild. It's called neuro-linguistic programming, by the way, NLP. Very, very powerful psychology there. You can let go of things, and then there's a space, and you can then come back with some nice, loving, positive, happy feelings and thoughts and colors and sound, and fill your body up with positives on purpose. So you're actually replacing the negatives with the positives. And of course, at the end, you got to rejoice. You got to rejoice and go, I did it. So those are 7 steps to handling our feelings, to transforming our positives into negatives. We learn and talk about our left brain. We don't learn much about our right brain. We learn, we don't talk about it at home. We don't deal with it at work. Better not deal with it at work, right? And we don't learn about it at school. What are we supposed to do? We're born with everything we need, but we don't know how to use it. So the problem is emotional education. And emotional education, Aristotle said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. That's a little bit severe, but you get the idea that we need to understand both sides of us. So that's what EQ is about. There's 4 basic components to it. There's your thoughts, your feelings, right? Left brain, right brain, thoughts, feelings. Those happen all day, every day, whether you like it or not. You can't not think and you can't not feel. So we better get good at both of those, right? So then if we take into account our thoughts and our feelings, we can then make better decisions. We can make better decisions if we take both into account. A lot of people don't take into account their feelings, only their thoughts. And that's not all the information that your body's trying to give you. There's a whole bunch more to it that your body is trying to give you. If you will listen to yourself, you listen to your thoughts and your feelings, you can make better decisions. And the decisions are about, does this make sense, right? Our thoughts, does it make sense? And does it feel good or feel right? Right? If we could take both of those into account, and both of those, you say yes to both of those, yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, that feels good. That's probably a pretty good decision, right? Probably. So we can make better decisions, and we can then, that affects our actions. Our actions are back into the outside world, and that is where we get results. We have relationships, we get jobs, or we get promoted, or we get demoted, or we get fired, or we get all that kind of stuff, is our actions based on our thoughts, feelings, and decisions. So it affects everything you do all day, every day. It's really helpful to have a good vocabulary so that you can explain what you're feeling. This link gives about I think it's up to now 5,000 words in English language that are feeling words. And it's good to have a good vocabulary of what are you feeling. So you can explain yourself, at least to yourself, if not to others. So that's really helpful. What's also really helpful is to just be able to sum it up into just the very basics. To me, I'm not that smart, so I try to make things super simple. So there's only 3 basic positive feelings, in my opinion. This is not scientific. Actually, I have a little side note. I have a list in my book on many famous people who have come up with the basic emotions. There are 4 basic emotions. There are 7 basic emotions. There are 12 basic emotions. Some people say there's only 2 basic emotions, and they're absolutely sure, and they can prove it, every one of them. And they're all very, very different. So you got to decide what you believe. It's up to you. To me, I'm working with these. The 3 basic positives are joy, peace, and love, and they're different, and they have different strategies, and they feel different, and we got to go about them differently. But they're basically the 3 things I'm shooting for, right? That I want to feel. And there's 3 basic negative feelings: fear, anger, and sadness. And if you can get good at dealing with your fear, anger, and sadness, those 3, as much as your body feels them, remember, it has to do with your body. If you can deal with those 3, then there isn't much that life can throw at you that you can't handle. That's pretty cool, right? I was pretty shocked when I first heard that, or when I first realized that if I can just deal with my negatives, as negative as they get, and they get pretty negative, right? But if I can deal with those, man, I can get peace. For me, the biggest one was peace, because I felt unpeaceful. What's the word opposite of peace? Agitated, irritated, angry, grumpy, all that kind of stuff. Negative. And I felt that a lot. And now I feel peaceful a lot. And I love that. I love that. And you can feel, it turns out, actually, side note, you can feel fear and anger and sadness and peace at the same time. I can do that. I can be very upset about something and still kind of be peaceful about it because I'm not fighting it, because I feel confident in doing that. Because I know I'm not going to blow up. I'm not going to die from this emotion. It's just an emotion. And I can deal with it. And so that brings me lots of peace. It really does. Before I was upset about being upset, right? I had issues about my issues, and that's not helpful. That's not helpful. I'm upset about being upset. And so it just cycles on, I don't want to be upset, but I'm upset about being upset, but I don't know how to deal with being upset. And so anyway, it just spirals down. If you can know how to deal with your emotions, especially your negative ones, it can bring you a lot of peace. Of course, there's more: depression, guilt, shame, anxiety, stress, all those good things are good things. They're useful emotions. I asked a question on one of the big emotional intelligence social media groups that I run. I work on a number of them on LinkedIn and Facebook, and asked the question, what's the difference in these negative and positive feelings? And Josh Friedman, who is the president of, or the CEO of 6 Seconds, the largest emotional intelligence trainer in the world, I said, what's the difference in positive and negative emotions? His answer was nothing. There is no difference. They're the same thing. They're all emotions, and there are no such thing as positive or negative. They just are. There's comfortable and uncomfortable, or pleasant and unpleasant is his description. I just call them positive and negative because some feel good and some don't. So to me, that makes sense. But if you get the idea conceptually, they're not actually negative, like we should avoid them. They're negative and they don't feel good, but we can still learn from them. We can still can be very educational and change our lives. Actually, there's tons of information in our emotions if we allow them, and we can learn from them and understand them. So let's talk about positive mental health. This is new, and tell me what you think about that. This is the skills, right? This is how to do it. These are actions, behaviors, and competencies. That's getting good at your behavior, right? It's different than knowing. It's doing. Putting our thoughts, feelings, emotions, decisions, and actions to work to make our life look, and more importantly, feel as great as you want. That's what positive mental health is about. So it's learning how to deal with our emotions in ways that work for us, in positive ways that work for us. Some of the biggest I like hashtags because they're simple. And I came up with a new one last night. Hashtags for peace. That's what these are. I like that. Our nonprofit is Eq4Peace. So these are hashtags for peace. So a couple of the most important ones: purposeful positivity, right? That's purposefully taking yourself, your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, all this stuff, and being positive about it on purpose, not an accident. Do it. Make sure that they're positive. Earlier or later, I'll mention one called spin it to win it. That means if you notice that it's negative, then change it, make a new thought. You can't get rid of the thought that you had. You already had it. It's a history, right? You already had it, but you can put a positive thought after it, on top of it, following it, to replace it, if you will, right? You can do that, and you can do that on purpose. And that is a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. So purposefully being positive is super important. Like positive psychology, by the way, side note, positive psychology, as you probably know, that's a very hot area right now. And that is because they are taking the negatives, which therapy had always been for the purpose of dealing with your negatives and coming back to normal, which is basically going from negative to zero, right? And that was the point. Well, positive psychology, Dr. Martin Seligman and University of Pennsylvania said, no, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. It's great to come back to normal, but let's keep going. Once you learn about yourself and your psychology, you can do better. You can be positive. You can be loving and happy and joyful and serene and resilient and persevere and all that good stuff. If you learn about yourself, and those are positive, those aren't just normal, those are you can do better. So same thing with positive mental health. We can do better. We can exaggerate our enthusiasm. That's what I do a lot, as you can see me. I never sit still exactly, but I exaggerate my enthusiasm. I'm happy about a lot of things, and I make sure everybody knows it, I guess. I don't just keep it to myself. I'm trying to share it with people and exaggerate it a little bit on purpose. I stretch it on purpose hopefully that'll help. People like my energy and enthusiasm because I make it bigger on purpose. And I don't have any trouble doing that because I actually have trouble making it not too big and going too fast. So exercising optimism is another good one. That is about you can be pessimistic if you want to, or you can be optimistic. Ready, go. It's up to you. And so it's a purposeful positivity thing, is exercising optimism as opposed to pessimism. So with positive mental health, you can think better thoughts, you can believe better beliefs, you can feel better feelings, you can make better decisions, you can take better actions, you can get better results, and you can live a better life, all by being more positive with your mental health. And you can make more money, you can be happier, and now studies are showing people actually live longer, better lives by learning about their emotions. It's incredible, right? Emotions are surprisingly important, more than we ever imagined before, how important they are, and they affect every part of our life forever, every moment. It's, I think, the most practical subject on the planet is to deal with our emotions, our thoughts, and our feelings. Is the most practical subject. I guess the only one that could be, I guess, a little more would be breathing, more basic. And breathing's a good thing. I'm a big fan. Planning on doing it a little longer, actually as long as I can. So learn about your breathing and then learn about your thoughts and feelings. That's about as basic as you could get. So positive mental health is about learning how to respond rather than react to life. This is a big deal. This is basically saying be smart about how you respond to life. And rather than just reacting, rather you're doing habits, rather you're doing dealing like you were taught. Or the pictures you have in your head of how your parents or how your teachers or other role models did it. That's how we end up getting pictures in our head, and we do that without thinking. That's reacting. That's reactive. That's not helpful. A lot of times it's very painful and very destructive sometimes. Respond means think about it. Give it a second. 6 seconds. The name of the organization, 6 seconds, is called that because it takes about 6 seconds for your feelings to go. And if you just give them 6 seconds or so, like counting to 10, it gives you the ability to go, oh, okay, wait a second. Is this what I want to do? Do I want someone to attack me? Do I want to attack back? Do I want to hit them? Do I want to run? Do I want to hide? Do I want to say this, or do I want to not say this, right? It's responding. It's us being intelligent and being aware and spin it positive to how we respond to life, to everything, to things, all kinds of things, all right? It's not habitual, automatic, with no consideration. It's intentional and purposeful with wisdom. So again, knowing for me and for a lot of people, I think now, is that if I know I can respond, that brings me peace. That helps me feel peaceful. It's the strategies we could teach emotionally healthy internal management. emotionally healthy management inside of us. If we get good at our negatives and learn from them, so we can create more positives, right? We can create more positives. So some of the benefits, I love this slide. Some of the benefits, it gives us choices. We have choices. We have freedom. Actually, choices is a big deal. Let me stop with that one. Choices. If you don't know what you're feeling, then you can't use that information. If you do know what you're feeling, then you can go, okay, now, all right, I could handle it this way. I could handle it this way. I could handle it this way. It gives you more choices. A lot of the lack of freedom is in the lack of choices. If you think you only can do it one way, that doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good. And that's reactive. And it's not true. It's actually not true. We have choices. We always have choices. And choices give us freedom. For me, I love that. Sometimes, actually, one of the challenges is having too many choices. Well, everybody's got problems. There's good problems and bad problems. Having too many choices is a good problem. It can be a problem, but it's a good problem, right? As opposed to having too few choices, that can be a bad problem. So anyway, it gives us choices. The more we're aware of ourselves and what's going on inside of us, the more choices we have on how to respond, not react, how to respond, right? Obviously, I guess, but people don't know that. They don't know that. So it gives us power. It gives us freedom and power. It shows us how to love. It shows us how to create intimacy, because we can control our heart. We can control how open we are or how closed we are in our heart. And I can open up to you, to people, to friends, to family, to my wife, to my kids. I can wide open of my heart and feel this incredible intimacy. It doesn't have anything to do with touch. This has to do with openness, heart openness. And I can feel amazing stuff because I want to, because I can. And then if it's not safe, or if it's not cool, or somebody's in a bad mood, or that kind of thing, there's negativity going on, I can close down my heart a little bit, and I can let these things bounce off of me. I cannot have it trash me because somebody's in a bad mood, right? I can do that. And then once it gets over it, I can go back to being open. I like to stay open personally, as much as I can. I like to experience that, and I like it. I like love. I'm a big fan of love. I like feeling loved, and I like giving love. So that's what I do as often as I can. And in order to do that, I better be good at dealing with my negative emotions, right? I better be good at it, because they're going to happen. Sometimes it's going to be painful. Yesterday I was with somebody, and they weren't in a bad mood, but they said some things that they're not really particularly emotionally intelligent. So they said some things not knowing how much those things can hurt people, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I think I'll close up a little bit. And I did, and I was just, okay, I understand that person is not doing well. So I just let that go, and I did it, and I was very proud of myself. I did it. Usually I get all hurt, and our kids call it butt hurt. You get all butt hurt when something happens. I think that's a funny term. It's an American term, but anyway, it just means that you got your feelings hurt. It helps me feel alive. It helps me get results and be successful. If you can manage yourself, you can get so much better results in your life. You can learn how to be a leader if you want. At least lead your own life. At least be the leader of your own life and your own family and your own and at work, maybe, or people that you care about, or your groups. You can lead, and you can lead without saying anything, by the way, without saying much. But you can lead if you understand yourself and other people's emotions. It's very cool. You can, they say you could get hired for your IQ a lot of times, although many companies now are doing EQ testing, not IQ testing, for hiring. But you keep your job and you get promoted for EQ, for your emotional, for being able to be positive and to be able to deal with your emotions. That's where you succeed. We could self-esteem and self-care. We can enjoy ourselves and love ourselves more. We can find a purpose for living by dealing with our positives, right? We can find some purpose. What do we want? What's important to us? What matters? And what can I do about it, right? What can I do about it? So that can help us with inner peace, interpersonal peace, social peace, and maybe someday big peace. Maybe we'll see. Mostly at work, especially, or at home, we don't do things alone. A lot of times we're not alone. So positive mental health is about how to deal on teams, how to deal with relationships, how to handle the culture, that sort of thing. So it's all about others, understanding and being able to deal with others. And it helps us. One of my favorites is that it helps us heal. We can heal stuff from our past, our pain, anger, sadness, trauma, even trauma from our past. So we can live cool in the present and make our future as powerful as we can. So anyway, pretty cool benefits, in my opinion. And the cost of all this is nada, zero, nothing, none. It's kind of magical. All this stuff, all these incredible benefits, and no cost whatsoever. No cost, none. You can have as much emotion as you want. You can have be the most amazing mental health person in the world without any cost whatsoever. It's all inside of you. You already have it inside of you. Just got to learn how to use it. You might have to pay a little bit to help have someone teach you, or read a book, or their book, or take their workshop, that kind of thing. You might have to pay them for that. But once you have the information, you're off you go. Actually, these or you could watch Wings of Life for free. There we go again. Another free item. So you can watch Wings of Life and learn all kind of stuff about yourself, because they have some fantastic workshops or webinars here. Basically, awareness, acceptance, action. We can't do anything until we're aware. We then accept, and then we can act. So one of the awarenesses is about feelings. So check in right now with yourself. You can put it in the chat if you want to, but what are you feeling right now? This is where it starts. This is the very basics of positive mental health, is what are you feeling? That gives you awareness and acceptance, and you can take action on it or not, but it gives you the first two steps in just that quick one full question. Name it to tame it. What is it you're feeling? So here's a bunch of words. You can pick 1 or 2 or 18 if you want. You can feel more than one thing at a time. And so this again is from 6seconds.org. This is called Plutchik's Wheel of Emotion. They have a really cool on their website. They have this, but it's interactive, so you can click on each one and it'll describe it and give you information about each one that you might be feeling, and give you the opposite. It's a wheel because they're opposite. So if you want to get out of that feeling, or you want to adjust that feeling, you can work on what you can do the opposite there. So look it up on 6seconds.org, the Wheel of Emotion. It's really cool. This is the static version of it, but they have a really interactive version that they just came out with that's very excellent. Here's one that we use for kids, asking, what are you feeling? A lot of teachers do this now, is to just figure out, just go around this class once or twice or 3 times a day and go, what are you feeling? That's it. What are you feeling? Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. They affect our emotions, but they don't control them. You do that. And that's called emotional responsibility. And it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. To me, that was the best news I ever got, was how that I'm in charge of me. I'm in charge of my little inner world. They didn't do it to me. They don't make me angry. No one has ever made me angry. No one has ever hurt my feelings. Pretty cool, huh? I did that. Now that's really good news, because that means who's in charge? I am. I'm in charge of me. No matter what's happening outside, I'm in charge of what happens inside. We said that earlier, right? That's a very, very big deal. Another big deal is the difference between when we have problems to deal with, what are we going to do about a problem? What are you going to do about that, right? Well, that's an action. Another good, really good, and very, very, very important question is, what are you going to do with the problem? Not about it. They're not fixing it. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with your thoughts and feelings about the problem? That's a whole different deal, right? And that gives a very different answer, different strategy. And that's very likely the real problem. Maybe the problem outside of you is not really the problem. The problem is what you do with it inside of you. And so this gives us the ability to do that. It also, this is one of my favorites because we're talking about not doing it the way our parents did it sometimes. Mostly parents try to be cool and love their kids as best they can, but their best may not be very good. They may not have a clue about emotions because they never talked about them and their parents never talked about them, and they don't handle them very well. So we got to handle them better. We got to do it better. We got to do it different sometimes. We got to do it exactly the opposite sometimes of how we were taught or how we were treated. We need to do it different. So this cool picture is grandpa and dad dumping on the son, and the son says, wait a minute, no, I'm not doing this to my kids and their kids and my grandkids. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it different. And it's very difficult. Like I said, like this is simple. Yeah, that they treated you bad. Don't treat your kids that way. Simple, right? Not easy sometimes, not easy at all sometimes. But necessary. So if you could be this guy in the middle who's doing things different and doing things better with more emotional intelligence and more positive mental health, then congrats and good for you. Good on you and good on your kid. Good for your kids and the world. That's what I'm trying to do. We're trying to learn how to do it different. So the very basics is positive mental health says if we learn how to deal with our negatives, we can create more positives. We can actually create more positives. And we are born with all these positives. We are born with them. We don't have to invent them. We're born with everything we need. We have a couple of little grand girls, and I've been watching them, and they were born pretty calm, pretty peaceful, pretty loving, pretty happy. Sometimes they're not when something goes wrong, but once they deal with it, once it gets handled, the problem gets handled, they go back to their natural state, which is being peaceful and loving and happy. That's our natural state, unless there's something chemically wrong inside of us. That is our natural state. And so what we need to, in order to get back to that, we just need to deal with our feelings, our negatives. If we can deal with our negatives, we can go back to feeling positive. We call it feel it to heal it is one of the ways to do that. There are other ways that are less painful. I will tell you right now. But I think that one of the most powerful ways that you can deal with your feelings is to deal with your feelings. Right, a lot of psychology and a lot of studies are a lot of suggestions and coaches and teach you don't deal with them, avoid them, change them, adjust them as fast as you can, how to get out of them as fast as you can. I'm saying that's all true, good, some of that's cool, and it's really, really, really helpful to just sometimes just feel them. Just let yourself feel it. Just fall into the feeling of sadness, your deep sadness, and let yourself cry. Or if you're angry, just be angry for a minute. Just even for a minute. Just let your body feel that. And you tense up and you growl and you don't hit anybody, don't hurt anybody, don't hurt yourself, don't break anything. Just be mad. Just let yourself feel mad for a minute, or stress, or scared, or whatever it is. Just let yourself feel it, and your body will thank you for it. You can then let go of it, and you can go back to being positive. It's a natural thing. If you got this underlying pain and underlying core, stuff inside of you, it helps so much to let yourself feel it just for a minute, even just for a minute or a couple minutes, and then release it, and then let it go, and then fill back up with the positive. It's a beautiful thing. And that's about positive mental health. I call it feel it to heal it, and it works great. This is my mentor, Doc Downing. He said, negative emotions expressed as intensely as they are felt in the body will reduce in intensity and are free to change. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And again, how much does that cost? It helps to have somebody help with you to help you do that. Not necessary. You can do it all by yourself. I guarantee it. All this stuff. You can do all this stuff by yourself. You don't need anything or anybody to practice positive mental health. You don't. But it's more fun, more interesting. I highly recommend, if you're doing big stuff, to get some help. But you don't have to, right? You don't have to. And that help can be anybody you feel safe with. It doesn't have to be someone you pay. It's just anybody you feel safe with. Just like, I got some emotions I got to deal with right now. Will you help me? And like, yeah, sure. We do this all the time. It's kind of fun. So feel it to heal it is one of the interventions, one of the ways to deal with your emotions. Goals are peace. Goals are about peace, inner peace inside of me, interpersonal peace between us, social peace among us, and maybe someday we'll get some big peace going on, all right, in the world. So one of the things is to be intentional, not just intuitive. What that means is to do stuff on purpose, to be purposefully positive, to be intentional. I want to appreciate it. Yeah, these are all different things. I want you to, I missed that. Okay. Find some help and some hope. Experience yourself positively with better awareness and more acceptance and enhanced self-empathy. Be nice to you. Be nice to you. I don't think I put anything in here, but our self-talk is so huge. Some people are so mean to themselves and vicious and put downs and shaming and blaming and guilt tripping and all that stuff. And to ourselves, don't do that. Don't be aware of what you're thinking, what you're saying to yourself, and intentionally change it. Is that how you want to parent yourself? Is that how you want to motivate yourself? But negatively, some people think they have to really be critical of themselves to get themselves to do stuff. But try to do it different if you can, because it's so painful. So see if you can learn how to be nicer to you. Appreciate how important feelings are. Break this cycle of generational trauma. If you weren't treated well, sorry, still be aware of it, do it different, learn how to do it different. It's really important. Get clear enough to share this with others. All right. Or you become a ripple maker. That's what we are trying to do in our nonprofit, is talk to parents, bosses, and teachers. They're the ripple makers, right? You're up here, and once they learn, then they are going to affect other people. So be one of them. Be a ripple maker, please, on this subject, and change your life permanently. You can do it and permanently change your life. So safety are some of the keys to emotional intelligence. Safety is so important. Emotional safety, not being criticized, not being put down, not being judged for your emotions. Just get yourself into a safe place. If you can find someone to be safe with you, great. If you can't, do it yourself, and you be safe with you, meaning you don't smash your emotions. You don't criticize yourself. You encourage yourself to go. Let yourself feel. Give yourself permission to feel. Permission. And that is name of a book, by the way. It's one of my favorite books ever. It's called Permission to Feel. It's by Mark Brackett, and he is the leader of the Yale, Y-A-L-E, Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence at Yale University. And he wrote a book called Permission to Feel, saying that most people do not give themselves permission to feel. There was a no subject. We never talked about it. All right. We didn't have anybody safe to express. We don't understand ourselves very well. We don't know how to identify and separate our emotions. All that stuff comes from us. And so therefore, we don't give ourselves permission to feel. He's saying that's a life changer. That's a life changer. And I totally agree. Respect yourself and others. Acceptance does not mean approval. That means you can hear yourself and you can hear others and accept that that's how you think and feel. You don't have to like it. You don't have to approve of it even, but you can accept that that is real for you or other people. You can accept without approval. That's a very big deal, right? Acceptance is a feeling thing. Approval is a judgment, is a thought thing. So those are different. Those are different. Please know that feelings matter a lot more than we ever thought before. And become responsible, response-able, meaning you can respond rather than react to everything. Have some self-compassion, have some empathy for yourself and others. Listen with soul, S-O-U-L. That means, that's my acronym for, S is for stop or shut up. O-U is open up. So stop, open up, and listen or love. Right? If you want to talk to somebody, or you want people to talk to you, and you want people to express themselves to you and be safe expressing themselves to you, you will become super important to them. You become super valuable to them, and you will improve your relationships if you can make it safe for other people to feel around you. Right? You can have boundaries, but you can also say, no, it's okay. You're okay with me. When you accept somebody's feelings, you're accepting them, and they like that very much. They like that very much. So if you can listen to people where you just stop what you're doing, open up your heart and listen to them, and just listen to them. It's probably one of the biggest gift you can give to another person, period. It's one of the biggest gifts you can give someone, is to shut up and listen to them and not judge them. Try it. Pursuing noble goals. This is a 6 seconds thing. They're saying get involved in something bigger than you. We have our nonprofit Eq4Peace, and we're trying to change the world, and that feels great to me. I love it. I wish everybody that had a noble goal as powerful and as motivational as I do. It gets me out of bed here, like I was, and I like it. It fires me up. It gives me motivation, gives me purpose, gives me power, gives me direction, all that kind of good stuff. And I feel like I'm doing something. I don't know. I feel like I'm helping, and that's a good thing. I like to feel like I'm helping, so I am. So we'll see. So find something that that's important to you, that's bigger than you. And if you can't find anything, you're welcome to borrow mine, because we got a lot going on. We have a lot of peace to get to teach. Learn how to navigate your emotions. Okay, here's where this happens. All right, now some people go from fear to anger really quickly, and they hide their fear with their anger. That's how they navigate that, and that's how they feel like they manage stuff. And it's not very useful, not very helpful. But if you learn how to deal with things and navigate through your emotions, it can be incredibly powerful for you. And turn negatives into positives when you can. So here's the big three, my big three favorite ones. Name it to tame it. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you doing? Name it. What is it? Identify the thought. If you're feeling something, see if you can identify the thought behind the feeling. Most feelings are preceded by a thought. If I think that you hurt me on purpose, I'm going to feel all this, right? If I think that, I'm going to feel this. If I think, oh, whoops, you made a mistake, or oops, you must have had a bad day, or oops, that was it wasn't meant for me. You're not doing it to me, you just did it, right? If I think that, I'm going to have much better feelings, right? So our thoughts are behind our feelings and push at our feelings. So see if you can figure out the thoughts behind your feelings. It's very helpful. And then change those, then change them, which is called spin it to win it. The next one, change them. If you haven't, oh, wait a minute. All right, hang on. If I adjust this and I change it, and I think, okay, maybe that wasn't, you didn't know, maybe you didn't know that you were hurting my feelings, right? You didn't know that that's not a cool thing to say, right? That kind of thing. I can spin it. I'm gonna feel better. We're gonna get along better, etc. But it helps us to know that I have the power to spin things, to adjust things inside of me. I can adjust things and be more purposefully positive. Try saying that 3 times fast. Purposefully positive. And as I mentioned, feel it to heal it works really, really well. It's not fun. It ain't always fun, but it's got to get done. I should add that one on the end. It ain't always fun, but it's got to get done. We catch and release. We go in and feel that feeling. And then I release it, get in, get it out, and get on. I like that one. That was from one of my students. And let it flow, then let it go, right? You get the idea. If you feel what you feel, even for a minute, then you can let it go. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So it's a balance. It's our IQ and our EQ. It's about inner peace and social peace. It's a cycle. This is one of the things. It's not about, I found this quote and it says, to be the best, you must be able to handle the worst. Well, to be the best, that sounds like it's competitive, right? I don't want to be the best. I don't need to be better than you at my emotions. I want to be better than me at my emotions. I want to be my best. I don't need to be better than you unless I'm competing against you in a sport or something. I just don't. So, but I want to be my best, and to be my best, I got to handle my worst. This is all private stuff inside of us. So again, it's about balance. This guy has good IQ, like most of us. That's our schooling, is for IQ, but not much EQ. And if he takes off, he's going to spin around and crash. All right. The guy on the right, however, has got more EQ, so he's adjusted it up, and he's more balanced, and he can take off and fly and soar. So anyway, it's a balance thing. It's not one is necessarily better than the other, in my opinion. This is your opinion, so you get to choose. Here, this is Neytiri from Avatar, the movie Avatar. She's my hero as far as how to deal with their emotions. She deals with her emotions incredibly intensely, and then she can switch between them really powerfully, and they help save her life, and they help bring her joy and her love into her life, and etc. It's from the first Avatar movie. And she's super expressive, and I love that some of her faces and how she expresses things. This is one of the ones, this is one of my favorites. And is she angry, or what is that feeling? I play racquetball, so I do play competitively, and it's just me against another guy, so it's just me and you, baby. And sometimes I have to push myself. A lot of times I have to push myself and go as fast as I can, or hit it as hard or as well as I can. And this is the feeling that I do. This is the face, and I'll do it right to him too. I'm like, I'm bringing up the power and the intensity inside of me, so that I can play as good as I possibly can. And it works really well. And so I guess my question is, do you want to feel this much? Do you want to be able to do this? Do you want to? That's a question you can answer. So I recommend it, but it's up to you. So yeah, like a lion. Exactly. Right. It gives you power. It's incredible. Try it sometime. Just growl or scream when you need to, and it just and your body just feels so cool. I highly recommend it. So real quick, here's how things go inside and out. Outside, they start outside, stuff happens outside of us. We have a thought and a feeling about what happened. That brings it inside. Now it's yours. Now it's your problem. Now it's your problem, right? The stuff is not the problem. And what you took about that is not the problem. What are you going to do with it? That's the problem. So stuff happens, and we then have a thought and feeling about it. Now it's inside. Okay, what do we do with it now that it's inside? Become aware of it first. Got to be aware first. Second, accept. I suggest I accept it. These are two of the secrets to EQ. then you evaluate it. Do I like it? Is that working for me? Is that something I want to run with? Is that, is this the hill I want to die on, as they say, some stuff like that? Is this a big deal? Is it a little big deal? I can evaluate what happened, then I can make decisions about that. And then back outside is I could take action or not. No action is often a good action, especially with big emotions. And so I can then take some action and I have choices, right? Or not. And those actions become our behaviors and who we are and what we do. And that's where we get our life results. So inside is our thoughts and feelings, outside is our actions and results. So there's thoughts, feelings, decisions, and actions. Thoughts, feelings, and decisions are inside. You can feel and think and decide all you want as long as you want. As soon as you do an action, though, now it's outside. Now there might be consequences. Now other people get involved, and now be careful. Oh, warning. It's now outside of you, and you do not have to no matter how much you think or feel, how strong your thoughts or feelings are, you still get to decide what your action is. You still get to decide. So that's a beautiful thing about emotional intelligence as well, is knowing that you get to decide no matter what your thoughts and feelings are. This is an inner peace guy, and this is the point. I just like his face. He's a statue, but I just like the way he looks, and I thought this is what peace looks like to me. We can be affected by our emotions by other people, but we don't have to. They're not in control of us. Dalai Lama said that world peace begins with inner peace. That's why we're working on this. Through inner peace, genuine world peace can be achieved. Haha, that's cool. And peace must first be created within ourselves and gradually expanded to include our families, our communities, and ultimately the whole planet. We call it peace education. We're trying to figure out how to be peaceful. So how are you? How's that going? Rate yourself just for fun. Another identification thing. How inner peaceful do you feel right now? 1 through 5. How peaceful do you feel? And how peaceful do you feel in general? Like the last couple of days or the last week or so, how peaceful do you feel? All right, cool. Thanks, Dr. S. You got a big 5. That's beautiful. If you don't feel peaceful, then you can adjust it with your emotions and your thoughts. So takeaways: feelings matter more than we ever imagined. Feelings matter more than we ever imagined. So make them important in your life. They're a big deal. Give yourself permission to feel. Maybe get or read the book, but you get the idea, is to give yourself permission to feel, and notice how you don't give yourself permission to feel, and then you can adjust that. Emotional responsibility is a huge part of this whole thing. That's the key, in my opinion, between it's the tipping point of whether you're going to do well or you do well and keep going up, or not do well, is emotional responsibility. It's also called Ray, who was on with me last time, calls it an internal locus of control or an external locus of control, which means, are you in charge of you, or are they in charge of you? Who's the boss of you? Who's in charge, you or them? So emotional responsibility says my thoughts and my feelings are mine, all of them, not some of them, all of them. My values, my beliefs, my motivations, my behaviors, all that stuff is mine. And I'm creating those. I can change them. I can manage them. They're not doing it to me. I'm doing it. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful thing. Puts me at choice so I can choose wisely. So let's see what the last slide is. Oh, this is from another presentation. So, okay. Any questions, concerns, comments, complaints, any of that kind of thing? Please take this information, use it inside of you, help other people and with it. Most people have no idea how to deal with their emotions. They don't even know the concept that they can manage their emotions. They have no idea. And so please share it with them. Please. All right, and let's bring some peace in our world if we can.
Okay, thank you. Today is a wonderful session. Basically, we are discussed with emotionology, the study of emotions. That's a good topic for us. And what is EQ, and what is PMH, and what is the difference between PMH and EQ? And you have discussed that IQ is something related to left brain, and EQ, there is something related to right brain. And there are four components of EQ. There is self-awareness, self-management, managing others, and managing the society. And you're dealing with the emotions and feelings. There are 7 steps to handle. And basically, awareness, acceptance, identification, express, then release, replace, and rejoice. That's a good
Rejoice.
topic. Yeah, yes, rejoice. And then what are the components? Basic 4 components of EQ: thoughts, feelings, decisions, and actions. And basic 3 positive emotions: joy, peace, and love. Similarly, negative emotions, there is feeling, anger, and sadness. Then there are 3 specific things that's called hashtags of peace: purposeful positivity, exaggerated enthusiasm, and exercise optimism. I think the first one, purposeful positivity and exaggerated enthusiasm, I think Mr. Pat is expressing very nicely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
There are some benefits of PMH: choice, freedom, personal power, team building, relationship, purpose of living, etc., etc. Then there's a formula for inner peace. There is a respond rather than, better to respond rather than react to life. So how to respond? Study how to respond, like that. Okay. Then, so today it's a very, very nice presentation and very basic things. We are very much fond of such very slow teaching. It's very nicely we learned this. Thank you very much. I think Venu sir, please.
Yeah. Matt, your presentation was
Yo.
insightful as well as interesting. And I understand that you always try to learn some lessons by watching movies, just like from watching the Avatar. The same way, just like what I do. I also watch a lot of movies, and I learn lessons from watching the movies. Actually, many people don't realize, actually, from every movie, you can learn something which can be applied to your life.
Yeah.
And then about that inner peace, you have been talking about inner peace several times. That is that inner peace, at times it is only in our control. That is, you have to walk away from certain situations. If that is not doing good for you, you know that right now the New Zealand, that Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, she's only 43 years old. She resigned. She is leaving because of burnout. She weighed whether that inner peace is more important than being that prime minister. So her answer was clear. So just like that, she resigned. I'm sure that is, you must have read about that one, and that is the news all over. That the New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, after being there in that position for you haven't read that one? No?
No, I don't watch the news on purpose.
Okay. This is not TV news. I read the newspaper online. So that is where in BBC and all those, the Voice of America. So she said, stress, burnout, this happened 2 days back. So like that, I also do the same thing. That is for me, my inner peace, my values, my beliefs, they are more important. And that is in my control. So I don't try to, just like that. Do you agree? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
definitely
what is in our control. Manage those things. And that is it. Thank you.
Nice.
Matt.
Yeah. Good points. Thank you, Dr. Radir. Yeah, I love watching movies and learning. I can learn I think like you're saying, we can learn from anybody, anything, any situation. If we look, we can. It's pretty cool. Fun. Makes it more interesting.
Yes, anybody else to talk? I have one doubt. What is this stop generation drama? So you have shown me one picture. A stop generation drama.
Oh, yeah. Yep. What about it? What are you asking?
Stop generation drama. So
Yeah.
grandparent, parent like that.
Yep. Just because if other people didn't treat us well, we don't have to pass that on to our kids or to the next generations. We got to do it different. It's tough, and it's tough because that's how we saw it. That's how we see. That's what love means, is to be harsh or to be mean or to be abusive sometimes. And oh, that's what love looks like. I'm like, no, that's not what love looks like. It doesn't have to be. No, it doesn't. So yeah, you got to try and do it different. Sometimes we have to make up stuff, that we have to let go of something that we never had. If you never had compassion and softness in your life, and now you're going to try to create that, it's tough. It's tough, but it can be done, and it's super important.
Okay.
I put the link to my PowerPoint in the chat if you're interested.
Yes, yes, yes. Please do. Anybody else? Ryan sir is there? Jemina Mohan sir? Anita ma'am is there?
Okay, sir.
Hi, Anita. Thank you.
Good session, sir.
Good.
Every day we are passing all these circumstances. We must identify our feelings. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control. But our emotions will depend upon which mirror we are using. If we use love and positive thought, we will get that from others also. Every day we must maintain within our mind that we are good, we are always in positive, and we must face both favorable and unfavorable situations with bold and courage. Then we can change negative circumstances to positive. If our mind have good control and face to change negative circumstances to positive.
Yep.
We must handle affairs to be positive, and we must generate the positive thoughts must generate from ourselves. We must spread that positive thought to others also. Then only we can become safe. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. Nice. My only comment, Anita, is you keep saying we must. We don't must. We don't must. You choose to. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's up to you. So
Okay, sir.
I'm just playing, but I think you get the idea. That must be a word that you use for yourself that helps you get things done. But
Okay, well,
I often hear myself say, you got to do this. You just got to. And then I go, no, you don't gotta. You choose. You may, you can, you don't gotta. Don't. It's up to you. That's cool. Gives you power.
Thank you, sir.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
So, as
Hello.
usual, you have started with a high-pitched smile from the starting point to this moment.
Oh.
That is the show of happiness. You are also accepted a systematic narration of the subject. The person who hear it, they must understand what you are telling. That is your intention. That is a successful venture. Again, sir.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You have told
Thank
about
you.
the benefits of peace. And in that, you told keeping peace in personal peace that should be extended to global peace to avoid the world war and a happy life in the human race. At the end, you have told that you have released the negatives and accepted the positives in life and enjoy the life and be a humble, simple, and happy man in the world.
There you go.
Thank
Or
you,
woman.
sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank you for the feedback. I love your energy. That's great. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. It was very fun.
Okay, anybody else is there?
Great stuff. Hey, Dr. S, did I go slower that time? Was that better?
Yes, it's very better. Very nice.
Okay, good.
At least I can
Yay.
write everything. I can write everything.
Oh,
very
okay.
clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Good sign. Okay. You can teach old dogs new tricks, I guess, huh? Yeah.
So
Very good.
So thank you very much once again. Come
Thank
up
you
with
all.
another session
Yep.
next week. Definitely we will see
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So what about
Okay.
Ray? Is there?
Yeah, we're trying. Yeah, he's had some problems with his family that he needed to deal with. But we're trying to describe positive mental health. I didn't use much of his information. I'm trying to put them together and into a written document, at least first. And so we'll be back.
Yes, sure. So if possible, next week, same Saturday we can do, if possible.
Oh, really? Next Saturday?
Yeah,
Sure. If you need me, yeah, you bet. The 28th. Yeah, sure. Okay.
sure.
Sold. On the 28th, right?
Please invite
Yeah.
Ray also
Okay.
if he is free. Okay. So thank you very much for today, and we'll meet next Saturday. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
See you. Yes.
Bye. Bye, all. Thanks, Dr. Yu. Thanks, Anita.
Thank you, sir.
Uh-huh.